soon as as soon as he come back, then you know. Well, you can come up. Well, you gonna be back here. Now, Stan, you can come right here. You gonna say something?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I'll be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me a chair too.
Yeah, I'm going, man.
I got all of that.
Cotton Street. Look at this one. Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right.
There he is.
Great.
Okay.
Come here, Pooh.
Well,
You in chair?
yeah, you put it beside the white thing.
Got it.
No, I just went ahead and did one that was the best.
You got the other one?
I got the things I could always make that over the
I didn't bring one like that.
yeah.
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to get ready to start and get it rolling, and maybe more people will roll. They don't. The ones who are here are supposed to be here, and we're supposed to be together and get the knowledge, share the knowledge, and go on from there. We didn't let the rain stop us. The sunshine is right in here, and it's in your hearts and minds, and we're just going to make it bigger and grow. And because of time, I'm going to cut short what I wanted to say, but the essence of it is give yourself a hug, and then give somebody next to you a hug.
Oh, yeah, come on, bro.
Real, it helps. Energizes you, energizes us, and it tells them other folks to keep away from This is the church. You take the CH off of one end, the CH off the other, you are the church.
Yeah, come on with it.
And what I would like for y'all to do is, I am the person on WURG with the word of the day. If you have any words, I've been there in a way that if you listen and go forward, you'll get what I'm saying about this. I have to labor it away a little bit, but I still stand tall. And I don't crimp on what I say. So bear with me, take the words, and we go from there. And then who do we have here? Well, Mr. Robert Hemmitt, physician, God is God. And I'd like to thank myself. I'd like to thank all of Diane. I'd like to thank Bobby and Linda, and most of all, I have to thank my soulmate, Mr. Robert S. Bracey, otherwise known as Magik. And Ernie for being our video person, and the tape to be ready. Even though we're not going to ask the questions here, if you have a question, you can leave it for me, and I'll make sure it gets answered. Okay? Thank you, and Bobby Hemmitt.
Well, glad to be back in my second home, Philadelphia. We spent a lot of time here in the 90s bringing this thing to birth in the incubation stage. We had to get through a lot of esoteric information back then to bring a lot of this information forth. Pretty much now what we've been doing, especially since the 2000s, is basically what we've been doing is we've been basically simmering on the front burner. See, the back burner you can just simmer around, but on the front burner you got to burn. So what happened is in this particular concept of the people who've been in this for a minute, to give you an update, a certain group of us in the 90s had to go through, and we had to unravel all of these particular hidden mysteries that was not only hidden from time, but hidden from the government or the powers that be also. So we had to basically get through just thousands and thousands of pages and books of information. Then in the 2000s, basically, we became entities. And so we basically just went into our own thing and started being the gods. Whether that be chaos or whether that be whatever the deal is. And that's the way this thing is. You get to a certain level and then you have to become that. And you have to become that. And so in so many words, that was the legacy of the Church of Philadelphia and other people around the country that was a part of that whole thing. We had numerous conferences and stuff. So in so many words, in retrospect, what we're dealing with now, have been dealing with recently, is not so much an ongoing research based on the materials and the doctrines, because we covered that for the first 9 years of it. What we're dealing with now is basically the research and the living essence of the gods in the spirit world. And sometimes, even when you don't even know there's a spirit world around you, there's always a spirit world. It's also, like I said, we did a lot of our work with Sister Delilah over on what's that? Shoe Avenue or Shoe Street? Shoe Avenue. So we did a lot of the work in the 90s there. We used to come, I think I used to come up here every other month. And also, a lot of information came. Sister Sharon back there was a powerful entity. One of the ones that would speed read and access the books, and between that whole crew, a lot of rituals were done and a lot of things on getting the bearings in how this stuff was made. I met a good friend, Brother Bob Cece. Brother Bob Cece, which in so many words bought every book that I told him to buy. Even some I didn't buy my damn self. But so we had that whole thing going and all, and to let you know that the whole God self is, he went on until he got hit by a car and proved that we are all unbreakable. So in so many words, he got hit by a car and didn't know he was hit and survived it with no bones broken or nothing. And so many words, he was the crash dummy for all of us that's actually unbreakable. That's ironic here because I met a brother in New York, the brother Shabazz, that I'm dealing with now, had some of the same things happen to him, unbreakable, as far as getting thrown out of a five-story window on his head and landing on some bricks. And then that night he was out there standing on the corner, and the people all in the projects were scared. So we had a couple of things that actually happening. During the Million Woman March, I met, which is what is now, believe it or not, my significant other or my goddess. I want to put it that way because she done told me, don't fuck around and don't address her as goddess. So you need to put the camera on her. I always kind of bust her out.
Go ahead.
You stand up for a minute and yeah. So that's my goddess, known as Linda. She used to live here. She used to dance and was connected with Sun Ra's house and the Sun Ra band, and she used to live here in Philly for a couple of years. And I met her. In Philly. Yeah, I met her here in Philly about 7 or 8 years ago, back at the Million Woman March, and we hooked up. We hooked up by January, March of 2004. So that's how that whole thing happened and stuff, And so we got a good connection going on. A straight-up dictatorship. Ain't no democracy. I'm on the other end of being dictatorship. So don't let the pretty face fool you. Yeah, so that whole thing, like I said, she came in and I cleaned the house thoroughly for her so she could move down from D.C. because she moved back to D.C. I cleaned the house thoroughly for her, and then she came in that Tuesday and started cleaning for 2 weeks. So I guess a man